All right. Hi, good evening, everyone. So today I have with me Dr. Prarthy Shah. She's been a wonderful student all these years, been mentoring her for a while. But this was another feather in her cap. She's got 90 rank all across India, and she'll be having choices of plenty from what institute to choose based on her rank on NEET SS. And this we have to compliment by that she was working in COVID in one of the largest institutes, largest setup in the doing COVID duties when she was preparing for her NEET SS. And this was a second attempt. The last year, she was getting some seats, but she left it because she wanted to improve upon to choose from good institutes. And I'm glad that we were able to have that happen. And she's going to be choosing institutes of a choice this year based on a fantastic performance this year. Welcome, Prarthi. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot. Actually, I
So,
wanted to mention that you've been a very good teacher too, sir.
thank you very much. Thank you. It's always been a pleasure mentoring you. So, I just want you to share your tips with these students who are looking to prepare and crack the NEET SS next year. I understand how the pattern is going to change, but before we come to that, let's first hear how you prepared this year and how was it different from your preparation, say, last year.
So last year, the preparation was almost nil. We, as an institute, we don't take NEET as something which we start from the second year. We, as MD students, we are so engrossed in our work that at the end of third year, we are like, okay, ab NEET SS karna hai, so what branches and what books are available. So that is what been through. So last year, it was only 15 days that we got effectively. And in those 15 days, it was like just the MCQs and Harrison. The thing that I need to revise was the main approach. This year, when I started, it was more like that I'll start with Bronwell. What I heard from my seniors was Bronwell, you need to learn Bronwell and you need to have a very good approach to Bronwell and the tables and the things. But then after some time, the first thing I read was heart failure because I thought that was my best, TRP kind of thing. So then it took me 15 days to complete heart failure from Bronwell. And then I understood that this is not the thing that I'll be able to crack if I need to do it in the when it was supposed to happen in September. So I changed my strategy at that time, and I started doing things which are very lucrative, like very giving, and the things that can actually yield more marks, like
Yeah,
cardiac
high yielding
tumors.
topic. That's what we have
Yeah,
been.
yeah.
Yeah.
Those topics that we've never read in our
So what are they?
PG times.
Let's come to that. What are those
Yeah,
topics?
so that those are like IHD, STEMI, everything. Those are the things that we read every time. But then arrhythmias, the most important and most, the nightmare of a person who's preparing for a cardiology seat. That's the most difficult part. And it's like I still remember the 400 pages that are there in Bronwell. And every time I used to open it, and I'll think that, no, let's do another topic and then I'll come to arrhythmias. And then you always push it down. So arrhythmias is one topic that we don't usually go, and we don't see cases also. We have a
Right.
referral system, and then we refer it to a higher center. So we see cases, but then we are not so get to along with such topics as we are with STEMI or PCI or any other topic that we see on a routine basis. So that is one. And
Okay.
second is more of cardiac tumors, cardiac oncology, or any
Yeah.
other topics. Those are the associated topics. So those are the topics that we don't. Valvular, obviously, every student we talk about, or the cardiology aspirant, you always talk that those people will have a very good hold on valvular. So those are the topics, and those are the topics that actually come in our exams, and
Right.
those are the topics that differentiate between a very good student and a good student.
Right.
So that is where I started doing arrhythmias. Again, I didn't open up Bronwell. I just tried to see the tables, the content, the flow diagrams, obviously the approach, the guidelines, the latest guidelines. I downloaded them. I have a habit. I need a pen and paper wala thing. Then I'll just underline and I just revise them.
Right. So I think when did the doc tutorials happen during this strategy? When did you
Uh,
realize that probably you need Elite series, which you were subscriber to, and how was that helpful to you in preparation?
So when I completed my first revision in December, so after that, when I realized I did earlier NEET SS 2018-19 papers, I realized that what is lacking in me is not the amount of knowledge I have. It is the amount of questions I am doing per day. So that is where Elite series came up, because I was not lacking in the knowledge or the things I knew, or the memory portion or the recall portion. I always had that thing that I knew this thing, but I was doing silly mistakes in those things, or I was just, not paying proper attention to the keywords in that question. So that is where the Elite series came. And then I used to give up tests, and obviously I would try, I come up in those three rank systems that were given. So that was a motivation, a kind of, the dog in the whole Paulo experiment. And then every time I used to do it, I got a good motivation from that. And secondly, the questions, the level of questions were not something a cardiology aspirant would think of. And those were the questions that came up in the examination.
Exactly. That's people used to say, I remember when I used to frame those questions, my colleagues used to say, "Sir, आप बहुत tough question बनाते हो. आपके question ऐसे बनाते हो, बच्चे डर जाते हैं." And when I now the exams have come, I realized that out of 85 cardiology questions, 70 questions, almost 90% questions were based on those concepts, like the calcium regulations. There was a question, sodium flux. There was a question on isomerism. There was questions on HOCM. There were questions on cardiac tumors. There were questions on JVP. So somehow I feel the questions were pretty much on the topics and the lines that were doing. The options were different. And I deliberately remember that I used to frame questions where I used to mention all of the following is true for HOCM, except, that way that one option is wrong, three options are correct. If you've done an MCQ, you've learned three things about that topic. So deliberately I would frame, because I knew that they are not going to ask that kind of a question in the exam. But my test series should not just be giving you questions, but it should build concept and give you three concepts in one topic. So that's how we used to do. So that's very interesting. And that's also interesting is how you were doing your in grant test. I mean, were you looking at the national standing in your grant test?
Yeah, it was obviously everybody will not give an exam that we are thinking of, but 75% of cardio aspirants would give it. And that was pretty much my thing, that I would multiply it with 25 every time, 25, 50, and then, calculate my score. That could be that could be the range in which I could get my rank. And then every time I used to get, is baar अच्छे से पढ़ना है, whatever topics or whatever things that I was lacking on, I used to go back. I used to go through the notes I've made specially. So that was a main strategy. I didn't go back to my textbooks again and again. I used to read it once, and then I had my notes that are my self-made notes, self-written notes, and that were my main go-to strategy. That I didn't know how to revise it again and again.
And you've been listening to, and we were discussing about the videos on HOCM, cardiac tumors, that we shared in the group, in our DocTutorials WhatsApp group. So how were they helpful or different from whatever you read, or how were they having an additive or an edge providing impetus in terms of a video talk versus, because the concepts are pretty much on the same lines of Grunwald or whatever is given in the textbook? How were those videos adding value to whatever preparation that you were already having?
So, sir, one thing that is different from last year that we've given this exam is the updated portion. There's a huge difference between a person who's reading and cramping things and the person who's very updated. Like, for example, you gave an example of HOCM, the new recent guidelines, the new recent trials, the Explorer, Mavacamten and all that.
It's not given in one word.
That's not given. So every time I read a textbook, there will be no mention about these things. And that was the question that was asked last year in this INI SS also. And this NEET SS also, there was this one option that could be ruled on that bit of information that we get. So that was, I didn't get so much time to go through all the videos. But yes, the videos that I've gone through, I made a point that whatever new information I used to get, I used to write it down. I used to add it with small bits and papers and, revise those things along with the whole topic. So that helped a lot. So that was the main thing, that the updation, and that is what is required as a student, because we as students, we do not get in touch with such things. You as teachers are more updated with the things. So that was the most helpful thing.
So the good that you brought this out. I mean, I remember Mava Kempton I had added in my video, and then yes, it was there in the INI SS. I mean, and I believe, because see, these topics do keep discussions happening over the various integrated learning programs that are happening pan India, where we have various faculties. These are the set of questions that are even asked in the Viva Voca. You know, when I go to take exam in a DM exit exam somewhere, or some external exam is coming from Delhi and he's asking some sort of questions. Those questions is what I have tried to integrate and put into the videos. And that's how the videos are more updated. So these are the questions that not only I feel are important, but these are the questions that are roaming around in the examiner group of circle as more common questions that can be asked. And that's why it's one of the advantages that we have in our video series is that we have prepared for this. So how do you think is now, because I remember in between this NEET SS thing, it came that it's going to be only medicine. And then I remember, creating another set of questions only from Harrison. So looking at that, how do you think the next batch that is going to appear is going to get benefit out of the question modules or the subset of preparations that I'm going to do or that we did, so that you already have that experience? When I created question bank out of Harrison based cardiology, people again told me, so they are not classical routine kind of questions would come around. But then again, those questions were a bit different. So what is your take on that? I mean, how do you suggest based on that, what the next batch of students preparing only for a NEET SS based on MD exit exam level of preparation would still require probably slightly more inclined and more comprehensive preparation for cardiology?
So basically, sir, whenever we prepare from Harrison is such a compact book. It contains everything. It contains everything. Whenever I used to study Harrison for at least 3 times, I've revised it. And every time I read Harrison's, there's something new that I get it. So whenever it's up to the questions you make as a faculty, whenever we go back to our Harrison's portion, we get to know, okay, this is also there and this needs our attention and this needs to be underlined, or this needs to be get into our minds that we don't actually pay attention to. So that is very important. As questions, they could help us to actually recall our theory if we've already gone through it. Second, to bring our mindsets or to bring our attention towards some things that we as readers have missed it. So that is how the questions have helped me also and would help other students also. That I would suggest everybody that even though you are reading textbook and you'll think that you know everything, don't ever stop on reading textbooks. At least you should go through 100 questions, or not 100, 50 questions in the beginning, and then 100 till the end of the preparation. That those which are not actually connected to your topic. Like today I'll read HOCM, and yesterday I've read AF or any other topic. So that questions should be done today, tomorrow, so that you can have them in your short-term memory as well as long-term memory. So that is the main thing that questions have helped me with the whole Elite series and the whole question bank series, that I got to know, okay, this I've never read it, or I've read it and I've not gone through it. So that
so I mean, I remember people telling me, sir, acha, ye bhi Harrison se tha. And I used to mention the question Elite test series that we had from Harrison based cardiology. I would mention the page and the line number from where I picked it up from Harrison, and not one question was from the question bank that is already existing in our question bank, which is an extensive question bank that we have at DocTutorials. Not one question was there from that question bank. So I take pains to prepare questions, read myself, dig out questions that are not there previously, and then create questions. So that's how I prepare. I believe the same was the case. You might not have found any repeat questions that were there in the Elite Test series from Harrison.
Some questions I've been I've been through. They were under the picture. The footnotes that we used to have, and then nobody, as a MD student, we didn't used to read the footnotes. We thought it was never important.
Read the footnotes.
But then your questions were through those footnotes, and then I used to read those. I got this habit that, okay, questions could come from those footnotes, and then I used to go through the footnotes and again and again.
Yeah, a fantastic performance, Dr. Prarthi, and my best wishes are there. What is your message for those who are aspirating this year now for getting into NEET? It's not very far off. It's coming soon. In 6, 7 months, you'll have your junior also. So, best wishes to you too on that angle.
Thank you,
You'll have the
sir.
shortest first year. So that's very round the corner. What is your brief tip or methodology of preparation, and why should they be choosing DocTutorials for preparation for NEET SS Cardiology for the next batch?
So, sir, my message would be you have a very short span of time that is actually not apt for any super specialty branch you will be taking. So, whatever you do, whatever will be your strategy, but always there's a method that I used to follow. I would like to tell them that always go through your textbook, that is Harrison's, because it is going to be a different pattern. So it's not necessary always go for the super specialty books, but yes, always go for videos of faculties like yours or any other super specialty branches they are opting for, and try to make notes and revise it along with the chapter every time. Second, every day try to imbibe at least 50 questions in your daily routine, which will help you. It will you will not realize, you will think that you'll have just, when I was doing it in my earlier days, it was only 4 marks, 7 marks, and then 8 marks, and then gradually it increased up to 25, 40. So initially you might not like it, but yes, do imbibe questions in your thing, and that could be from the question bank, and from the elite series, and from the question series that you have, and every time the questions will be different, so you'll have a very new concept every time coming up. So that will always help, rather than the theory. It will help a little more, maybe.
Yeah, thank you, Prarthi. So that's the thing that I mean, I think question solving is the part of what I call PQRST technique. You preview, you
Yes.
question, you read, summarize, and test. So
Yes.
unless you test, you don't put your short-term memory into long-term memory.
Yes.
And because the subject is so vast, what you're supposed to read in 3 years of exit exam and DM,
Yes,
you
sir.
cannot prepare it for the time of 6 months in the time of entrance. So you have
Yes.
to be smart. You just don't have to work hard, but you have to
Yes.
work hard enough, but very smartly. But
Yes.
smart hard work is the only key. Hard work alone will not get you anywhere, and that's what we intend to do. So, thank you, Prarthi, for being with us and sharing all the tips and tricks. And thank you for being with DocTutorials. And I wish you best wishes and my luck. And you can count on us and DocTutorials that we'll always be there for you all across your life in whatever ways we can to support you, mentor you, and we'll always be. It will be a pleasure to help you in whatever way I can.
Okay.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you,
Bye
sir.
bye.
Thank you.